Welcome to the Reborn Football Podcast. I'm Tannery. You can also call me Tans.
And I'm Femi. You guys can call me Fuego. You can call me Fuego. We'll go into that later, but yeah.
So this podcast is going to be a mix between our faith and football. So those are two of the most important things in both of our lives. Firstly, our faith. We are both Christians, followers of Jesus. At least we try to be. And this is a an avenue for us to share our faith and for us to put some responsibility on ourselves to not just be preachers of the word but to be doers of the word as well. And then obviously we're both very much into football, and this is an avenue for us to just talk about the beautiful game, the game that we love. So how the episodes are going to go, at least just to start off with, are we're going to start the episode with each episode with a verse from the Bible that's spoken to either one of us or to both of us that week or that day of the episode. And we'll just talk about it, how we can how we can interpret it, how you guys can interpret it, and how it can help our daily lives. And then we'll get into the football content after the verse of the episode, if that's what we want to call it. So we're gonna go into today's verse, which is Joshua 1:9, which is have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. So if you'd like to get into that.
Yeah, so I think this verse is kind of like, it's not even an encouragement in my opinion, because as children of God, we know that God has got our back. God is on our side. And if God is on our side, then we have absolutely no reason to fear. There's no challenge. There's no person that can ever, do anything to us or undermine us or anything like that. So this verse is a command more than an encouragement. It says, be strong, be courageous, and do not be afraid. So it's not kind of like an optional thing where, or if you feel like it, you can decide not to be afraid. Or if this person isn't, as scary as the next person, you can decide how do you wanna face them, or do you wanna run, or anything like that. It's just a command that, you can be rest assured that God has got your back, and if God has got your back, then there's absolutely nothing that you need to be afraid of.
Not being afraid is one of the main things that God calls us not to be. In the Bible, I'm pretty sure "do not be afraid" is one of the most common phrases. I'm not fully sure how many times. I might just look that up here, so bear with me for a sec. But I know it's
Yeah,
one of the most common phrases in the Bible. I think it's like 365 times or something. I don't know, in the
I've
Bible.
heard something like that, something similar to that type of number. But yeah,
Do not
it is one of those commonly used phrases in the Bible.
not be afraid in the Bible. Yeah, yeah. I think it appears 300. It appears 365 times. So that's even one for every day. Do not
Mm,
be afraid. And that is something. The verse is something that spoke to me when I was trying to think of the first verse. For this series, for this podcast, because this has been in the works. People will know. Our friends and people we've talked to about this will know that this has been in the works for a very long time. But there's been a bit of fear, a bit of something holding us back, me in
mm,
particular. But we just wanted to get started and really take that leap of faith. And it's something that you guys should take into your daily life as well. If there's something that's that you really want to do, maybe you're fearing how other people react, how people what people would think, just dive into it, and you never know what might happen. So we're taking that leap of faith, and we hope that whatever it is in your life, that you guys can take that leap of faith as well.
yeah, sounds good.
So we're gonna dive into the football aspect of the podcast now. So we are both football fans. I support Arsenal, and Femi supports Manchester City. So last season, obviously, we would have been rivals, in the title race, but Femi came out on top. They won the league last year. We are only challenging. We were only challenging for the league for the first time in like 6 or 7 years.
Years, man.
You know,
Years.
allow it, man. But positively on the positive side, we did make it to the Champions League for the first time in 6 years. 6 years, like my entire secondary school career, we didn't make it to the Champions League once, like not even one time. But at least we're back now. It's that first Champions League game. Like I can't stop thinking about it. That first Champions League game for us at the Emirates in about a month's time now. It's gonna be amazing. Really happy to be back. We thank God. Like it's been way too long. Obviously, fam, it's a bit different for you. I don't remember the last time you guys weren't in the Champions League. But,
Yeah.
how does it feel to win the treble?
I think it's kind of a mixed feeling because the biggest one was obviously the Champions League. At the end of the day, that's the one that we're really looking for. And if it was a thing of league or Champions League, it was Champions League all the way. Like
You still got it all though. So like,
it's a thing where you kind of you've been spoiled. You've been spoiled for choice, and it's
spoiled babies, man.
it's like of course you have to. You're happy about it. I'm happy about it. So it's not it's something that we've kind of been looking at for years, where we're getting close. I think it was quarterfinals last year, semifinals last year, finals the year before,
yeah,
and then semifinals the year before again, and quarterfinals the year before that. So it was close, and it's even a kind of a personal thing, even for Pep, where it's like he hasn't won.
He hasn't won it without Messi. You know what I'm saying? That's been the big thing on his legacy recently.
Yeah, but it was beautiful to finally do it. Probably not the fairy tale final that anybody would have been hoping for, but at the end of the day, you win on the day, and it's they made history at the end of the day. So that was the main thing there.
Yeah, that's probably what's even held you guys back in the past. Trying to play too much beautiful football, where at times you just need a bit of pragmatism, bit of just just do everything you need to do to get over the line. I watched that Champions League performance. Pretty sure I was on holiday at the time. I was watching it, and it probably was like bottom tier of Man City's performances throughout the season. But at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do on the day to get the trophy.
Definitely. Question: will you be going to any Champions League matches this season?
Man, the Arsenal have changed up the whole ticketing thing, so it's a lot harder to get tickets now, because like I'm just a red member. If I don't know if any of you guys know how the Arsenal thing works, but there's red members, silver, gold. It's really hard for red members to get tickets, like even for just normal games. So I don't know how it would be to get Champions League tickets, but I'll try my best. But I was able to go. By God, we thank God, I was able to go to a couple of games last year. I went to the Leicester game at the beginning of the season when we won 4-2. And then I went to the Bournemouth game in March, where we had the last minute winner. We're 2-0 down. I was looking at my phone, especially Timothy. Timothy, if you listen to this, I know you were so happy. You're so happy that we're losing 2-0, that I wasted my money. And then that was one of the best moments of my life, just like being there, and then obviously singing after. Obviously in that moment as well, we're top. We thought that was gonna be like our moments. Like when we win the league, we're gonna look back on that game and be like, yeah, that was the moment that changed it all for us. But it wasn't to be. But I still wouldn't change that moment for anything. That was probably top 5, one of the best moments in my life.
I think when you go to the games, you're actually there and you experience the whole atmosphere. It's completely different to watching on the TV, or even just watching it with the boys or anything like that. So honestly, win or lose situation, when you're there and you just see everything going on around you, you're hearing it, drinking up the moment. I think that's the biggest thing about going to football matches. So similar to Tans there, I was at the Community Shield final, start of August. Don't know when this is coming out, so I'm not sure how long it's been since then. But of course, we know that Arsenal won. What was it? It ended up being 4-1 on penalties.
4-1 on penalties. Yes,
that was
we all know City can't take penalties, man.
Very, very shocking penalty performance there from City. But look, at the end of the day, if we win, it's a trophy. If we lose, it's a Mickey Mouse Cup.
Very much a trophy for us, man. Very much a trophy for us.
But in terms of the game itself there, just going back on the point of the City-Inter final, that you would almost say that it was boring football. But for me, I think the experience just being at Wembley, because obviously it was, I think that's my second City game. So it was my first at Wembley, second City game, and ironically, my first City game was actually Arsenal.
I remember that. That was when
Arsenal
we lost 5-0, didn't it?
2 seasons ago, it was a 5-0 victory. I think the week preceding, there was something. I think you were even saying something to me that if we don't beat you like 6-0, then it's a disgrace or something like that.
Yeah,
It was the time where
life was very peak them days, man.
Arsenal was not in a great place at that time. We thank God that they're challenging now, but same opponents, different team, obviously in terms of they've got new additions and all that. So just seeing some of those new signings, and particularly for Arsenal, just seeing how they're playing and all that, and then just enjoying the whole moment. So, it was a tough day. Travel was crazy because I did it all in one day. But again, atmosphere was beautiful, and obviously, other than the result and the fact that City didn't lift anything that day, I think it's just a thing for all you guys to get to a football match if you can. 100%.
Yeah, do get to matches if you can, like especially when you're really into it and that's really your team. Getting into the atmosphere of the fans, singing all the songs, it's really amazing. And contrary to popular belief, these games actually aren't that expensive.
Oh,
what's the hard part is actually the access to the tickets.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to get access to tickets, especially if you support one of like the rich six teams, Arsenal, City, United, Liverpool, Chelsea. It's really hard to actually get the tickets, but the tickets are not that expensive. So you just got to do a bit of research, get on social media and see how to get tickets, because like going to a match for your team, it's an unrivaled feeling. Whether you win or lose, but especially more when you win, and especially more for a 97th minute winner. I still can't believe it. But I still can't believe it. Like every once in a while, like it comes up in my Snapchat memories, and I'm just like I can't believe I was there. Like that moment. Like sometimes they'd be showing the goal like on like the Premier League social media accounts, and I just can't believe like the big roar. Like that, I was one of those voices. Like I was going crazy that day. Everyone that's close to me would know. Like I was going absolutely crazy that day. And honestly, like for all football fans, not even specifically the result or anything, just going to watch your team at your own team stadium is something that I would wish for every football fan. It's honestly amazing.
Yeah. Even speaking on that ticket matter, I'm not 100% sure I agree with that in terms of Big Six. Fair enough. Big games, like say for example, when I'm looking at City's ticketing system, it's not complicated at all. If you have the kind of like the most basic membership, you've got access to pretty much all the tickets. You don't it's a how would I explain it? Last season, I was trying to secure tickets to the Manchester Derby. Obviously, I'd been a member the year before, but I hadn't gone to a match. So they were like, oh, they'll sell them first to members who have gone to maybe 6 games last season. So things like Manchester Derby, City Liverpool, City Leeds, because that's technically another derby in itself. So those type of matches, the tickets were not easy to get. But then you have maybe other matches, even Champions League matches, the way that we've got people calling the Etihad the Emtihad, that type of thing there. I think I was looking at Champions League tickets and it was like £15-20. Like £15-20 that's not realistic for a ticket to a football match, no matter how empty the Etihad is.
Yeah.
But I don't know, this year that they've won the Champions League, that those prices are hiking up.
They're gonna skyrocket. That's the thing. Like another big problem with all these matches is the resellers. When I got the tickets for that Bournemouth game, I think those tickets was like what 13. I think it was £13.50 I paid for those tickets. I'd have to go back and check, but I know it wasn't more than £20. Like cheap, and when people think of football tickets, they think of the high, like maybe like 90, but no, a lot of the tickets are cheap enough, accessible. But then that day, like obviously, we're doing really well, high demand, so the tickets sold out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So like later on that day, I went to go check like one of these like resellers to see what they were selling it for, and they were selling the same ticket in the same, not the same ticket because I had the ticket, but this tickets at the same level of like fan in the same area, they were selling it for almost €100. So the
It's crazy.
resellers is probably the biggest issue because I think they have like bots or something and they buy like loads,
To drive the price up and then
yeah,
they sell them off.
like I mean, football or not football, like a lot of people that are close to me will know that I am not a fan of resellers. Like I don't want to hate on the grind and hate on making money, but like
Mm.
it makes it really difficult for everyone else. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
nah,
saying? Like
I hear, 100%. Um, I mean, there's that. So I want to go into a little bit more background, maybe some non-football things about you. Tell us a fun fact about yourself.
man, that's people know like a lot of my fun facts revolve around football,
That's
but
true. It's true.
you know, fun fact about me, um, fun fact about me is I don't know. I went to a Barney concert in Nigeria when I was like 5, I think.
That's a very interesting fun fact. Yeah. No,
Yeah, and or like I've lived in 3 countries. Yeah,
that's mad.
yeah.
Where else have you lived? I didn't hear. In
I've lived in Nigeria and England. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know why I'm asking you where else have you lived, as if
You've
that's not an
you've you've,
obvious.
you've, you've yeah, and you've known me since primary school. You
Nah,
don't need
it's
to
true.
pretend that you don't know.
Nah, first.
But yeah, any fun facts about you that you'd like the audience to know?
I mean, I'd say I'll touch on two. So obviously, I said I go by Fuego at the very beginning. So I'm a musician. I would call myself an artist rather than anything else in particular. Mainly, grime is what I would call it. Obviously, drill was a sound that was very popular in recent years, and that's something that I've taken advantage of myself. So music, I rap, I sing, I play 3 different instruments. Two, I play the keys, bass guitar, electric, acoustic guitar. But guitars are the same thing in my opinion, anyways. But yeah, actually, I do have a song that's coming out. Maybe I'll talk about that next episode.
August 25th.
August 25th. We'll talk about it now. Long awaited. It's been a couple of years in the making. We finally got a video for it as well. So that's my first video coming out. Pretty excited to share it with all you guys. Song is called 433. It's that old that there is a bar that refers to the fact that City do not have a Champions League title, but we do now. So thank God for that one.
Edit it, no? That would
Nah, unfortunately, we had done the video before we won the
before you
Champions
won the
League.
Champions League, is it?
Yeah, so
That's
it was a
first.
thing where even if you want to go edit that one little bit, it's not gonna match up and it's gonna look weird and all of that. So that's one thing. I'd say the other thing is I do still play football. So football career has been very very interesting. Maybe another day we can go into that, but I'm currently playing football. Obviously, we're both based in Ireland. I'm playing football in Northern Ireland for a team that cannot be named for. I don't know whether it's safety or political reasons at this
I think
point.
it's both. I think it's both, man.
Yeah, so even up north, it's the type of thing where you go to certain places, you have to be careful. They're like, oh, don't. It's a thing where coaches like, if you're coming to a match and you don't have the gear, wear playing gear because he doesn't want other badges associated with the team and all that. That's calm. But when we go to a specific place in Northern Ireland, do not wear your gear. As in, do not wear your club gear because if you wear your club gear and anyone sees you in it,
Long day.
but
Long day.
it's we thank God. Obviously, this year there was speculation as to whether or not I would be staying, but I'm staying. And it's a kind of platform for me to kind of elevate and possibly move into playing for the team in the Irish League, or possibly even move to another team in the Irish League and kind of do a little semi-professional thing if it works out that type of way. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I mean that's really positive to hear. Really well rounded, but everything does come back to football. Even with your song,
100%.
433. Seeing a little preview wearing your Man City shirt. So yeah, it just shows things like that shows how much he loves football. That's why he's here. That's why he's doing this with me. And going back into the football, let's talk a little bit about what we think is going to go on this season. Obviously, at the time of recording, um, Man United are playing Wolves on the opening day of the season. What's the score actually? What's the score saying?
That's what I want to check right now. It's a boring first half. Like we didn't see anything. We're on 60 minutes and it's still 0-0.
Still no. That's not good for my fantasy team. Maybe we'll have an episode talking about fantasy team.
Yeah.
But from our conversation earlier today, I think I'll be giving the advice, not you.
Look, it's match week 1. That's the only thing I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
so
but
there's still time.
Yeah, the time recording, it is match week 1 of the Premier League, so still a lot of time to make predictions. So who do you think's going to be player of the year?
I think it's kind of an obvious choice for me at this point. It's got to be Haaland this year, because this year, well, last season he was by far the best player in the league. Not so much in terms of his actual playing, but just because he does his job so efficiently.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to change this season. So I do tip him to possibly actually break his record this year and also win Player of the Year.
That's a very good tip. In a lot of sports, best player on the best team is a pretty decent barometer of who wins the individual awards. I would go with Haaland as well. Like if I was thinking with my head, but going with my heart, I think you know where this is going. Everyone who knows me knows where this is going. But player of the year this year, I'm gonna go for Bukayo Saka. Obviously, that's not a wild statement. It's not it's not like he doesn't have a chance, but he has shown steady improvement every year that he's played for us. Last year, 14 goals, 11 assists. And there's no reason why he can't improve. In fact, I think that he had an outside chance last year, but unfortunately, as Arsenal's form went down towards the end of the season, his form went down as well. So he's actually 21 at the time of recording, which means he's still eligible for Young Player of the Year. So I think he has a really good chance of winning Young Player of the Year. Player of the Year, outside chance, I'd still probably go for Haaland, thinking logically, but coming into Young Player of the Year, I would definitely go for Bukayo Saka.
See, I would also go for Saka if not for the fact that Haaland has just turned 22. Was it 22 or 23?
I think
Haaland's turned 23.
Yeah, Haaland's 22 now, I think, I swear.
I'm pretty sure, I know his birthday was
he just turned 23.
So I think he's just turned 23.
He was eligible for last year, though, because I think it's the 1st of July. Because I think he was still 21 on the 1st of July. So he's eligible for last year's Young Player of the Year. Didn't he win it?
See, I don't think... Are you talking about Premier League?
Or PFA? I know the PFA awards aren't out yet. They aren't out till the end of this month.
Yeah.
But if Haaland is eligible, then for sure. But I don't think he's eligible anymore because they changed it to 21. I swear.
Did they change it to? Because I remember at one point it was 23.
It was 23. But
I was kind of confused when I saw Mason Mount get.
23 is old, man. Actually, no, 23 is not old yet. But 23 is it's at the start of the season, a guy's 23 and then they turn 24. Winning Young Player of the Year when you're almost 25, you're almost in the over 25s category X Factor. That's a bit too old. You know what I'm saying? But I think 21's about the right age. If Haaland's eligible, then Haaland's definitely a solid contender. But I would go for Saka. Trying to think of some other contenders. Don't want it to just be Arsenal. What else do we have? Okay. Well, we're going to stay on Arsenal for the second. Martinelli as well. It's also a really good contender.
How's
Martinelli's 21 as well. Actually,
young.
21, I think. No, I think he just turned 22. And then, obviously, we're looking at young players as well. Garnacho's a shout. I actually really like Garnacho. If anyone knows me, I'm not, as an Arsenal fan, I don't really like United like that. He's a Man City fan. He doesn't like United like that. I don't
think anybody likes United, let's be honest.
But when I see talent is there. Like Garnacho's a player that from the moment he came through to the United squad, I seen it with him. I seen that spark. He's a top player. Now, if you could get more minutes, you could definitely make a Young Player of the Year, at the very least a nomination. I could definitely see him at least getting a nomination.
Yeah. Just on the Young Player of the Year, you're right about that. It was 23. It is now 21 as of the 1st of July. So
So if you're still 21 on the 1st of July, like before the season, then
Before the
you're
season, then
eligible.
you're
Yeah.
eligible. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that's why Haaland was eligible last year. I remember I was
yeah.
so disappointed when I found out Haaland was eligible because I thought Saka would have had that locked
Oh, one hundred
down.
percent. If
Yeah.
Haaland hadn't moved to see Saka had it last year, 100%,
Yeah.
and I would have almost tipped Saka for actual player of the year last season as well.
Yeah. He was really, he's really top last year. He really went up to another level, even at the World Cup as well. That performance against France, I'll never forget it. He had one of the best left backs in the world, Theo Hernandez, on absolute skates.
Yeah, no, Saka is really at this point. Like right now, he's probably one of, if not England's best player,
Yeah,
in my opinion, anyway.
yeah. You're probably saying him, Harry Kane are the two first names on the team sheet, and even coming on to Harry Kane, finally put on his big boy pants and left Tottenham.
I don't even think it's a thing of putting on the big boy pants. I think it was just persistence because I remember last summer? Last summer he was
Now the summer before that, he wanted to go to you, man.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a thing of not coming to training or let's force the move type thing. And then it's kinda like Levy's getting you back in line. You're like, okay, we'll do it for another season.
And this may be something we'll go into a lot deeper on another episode, but a lot of players need to like actually think about the people that represent them and do deals for them because Harry Kane, I think in like 2018, signed a 6-year contract. That contract is what has been holding. This guy has wanted to leave for at the very least 3 years. This contract has been holding him down now for so long. I think apparently his brother is his agent or something. Like, you got to think a little bit. Like, I know at the time, yeah, he was probably like, Tottenham were on the up, this is the club I love. But you have to think, like, at the end of the day, football's a business, like football's a business. The team won't hesitate to throw you away if they can. So as a player, like, you've got to, you got to secure your financial future first and foremost, but also your footballing future. You've got to be able to be like, at this point, if I want to leave, if the club's not showing ambition, I can just leave. And that is one of the reasons why, although I feel like Mbappe is going a little bit too far, but I do like the fact that Mbappe always wants to secure his footballing and financial future.
I hear it because at the end of the day, it's for the bag. Most, like, a lot of them are doing it for passion, but as Gallo said, they're playing. At the end of the day, we're playing the football for money.
You hit them ones there, like.
But Mbappe is probably another one that we'll probably have to almost dedicate an episode to because it's an intricate thing with many different things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
But
we actually went on a bit of a tangent there. I think that was supposed to be talking about the young player of the year. But I think the last thing we'll probably talk about is our predictions for the dark horses. So who do you think in the Premier League will be the dark horse this season? You could go for a player, like, unexpected player. You could go for an unexpected team. What are you thinking?
I'm probably going to go team, and I would say Brentford. Honestly, having seen match week 1, I think they're probably looking sharper than most of the other teams. And it's a thing where you're sharp in the first few match weeks. That momentum can kind of push you a little bit further on into the season.
Leicester 2016.
That type of thing. Maybe not as high as winning the league, but that type of thing. And then we also need to think about the fact that Ivan Toney is still in the contract. So whereas we know he's not back until midway through the January transfer window, he is probably going to be one of those ones who is fit, sharp, ready to go at that point in time where the season is kind of reaching halfway point, and you need a team, you need players who are like eager to continue on with the season. It's not like a mundane thing of we're playing again. If they've hit a bad run of form, that players kind of give up. I feel like Brentford are one of the teams who are probably going to surprise us this year in that aspect.
I'm going to disagree with that because not that I don't like Brentford or like I have anything against them. I love the way they've played, the way they've built up their team, but 20 goal strikers are very, very hard to come by. And when you're just going to lose one for half the season, at the end of the day, you can play nice football, you can do this, you can do that. Sometimes you just need a goal. And Tony, I think he scored at least 20 goals in the Premier League last season. I think it was 20, 21, around that ballpark. And losing that for half the season, I think it's definitely going to have an impact. I said I said recently on one of my social media pages that they would they would be dragged into a relegation scrap. Upon upon watching them play this weekend, I don't think they'll be dragged into a relegation scrap, but I don't think that they'll
You don't have
do
high
quite
hopes for
as
them.
huh?
You don't have high hopes for them as
Yeah,
such.
yeah, man. I don't think they
Okay, yeah.
will. I don't think they'll do quite as well as they did over the past couple of
Mm.
seasons. Because losing that level of influence in the attacking end of the pitch, man, like it's especially for a club like Brentford. It's not like a lot of the clubs at the top where you have, for example, Arsenal, City, United, where you have different players
That can
contributing to
that
goals.
can fill that role
Like,
if somebody else
yeah,
can step up if they need to.
Tony, 20 goals, that's going to be a lot to try replace. Hopefully they do, because I do like Brentford. I don't want to see them like going back to the championship or anything like that. I think they're a really good addition to the league, especially when you need one of your rivals to drop points and they're going and they're going to the G Tech, man. You know that Brentford will do something for you.
Well, how about you? Who are you thinking is going to be a dark horse this
That
season?
dark horse, I think I'm gonna have like one answer and then kind of like a half answer. So my full kind of dark horse is Burnley. I think they'll do really well, with Vincent Company, and the decent, even the opening game against Man City. Of course, Man City won 3-0. If you look at the score, if you or you go look at some ratings, it doesn't look good. But there were times where they gave Man City a fair fight,
Yeah, definitely.
and that's Man City. So there are other teams where I say like, yeah, Burnley could definitely get a lot of points. I could see Burnley finishing, kind of lower top half. I think they could do it.
Yep.
And then for some reason, it seems like a lot of people are not that big on Newcastle. If you're not big on, you need to buy the Newcastle stocks right now, because although I do think that the Champions League will affect them, they are a good team, man, and they gave a lot. They gave a team that a lot of people are tipping to do really well. Aston Villa 5 on the opening day on Saturday. At the time of recording, so I think Newcastle will do really well this season. I can see them maintaining their spot in the top 4, or actually, it's the top 5 now, because from next season, England is going to have, I think, 5 teams in the revamped Champions League.
It's a different format now.
Yeah, so that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna wrap up today's episode. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, we appreciate you. And yeah, we're gonna wrap it up now.
All right, so we'll see you guys in the next episode.